In this video, I'll go into the top things you need to pay attention for the market to peak, or called differently top signals. So I'm having like 5 things that I will discuss, but I've actually marked them like this so you don't get confused, and I'm gonna go step by steps on that. So let's jump in the first one. Something that no one is paying attention how the top came last time is inflation. So inflation going up is a metric which you need to pay attention, because if that goes up, it's kind of red flags and it shows that something might break soon. Here's the chart of inflation based on March and the year of 2021, which was the top of crypto. If you see what happened in 2020, the inflation was nothing, right? Then the first spike of inflation was basically December 2020, but it was so small, right? It was like 0.2. Then it stayed the same for January 2021. Then it spiked really quick in February 2021. So the first inflation spike we saw in February 2021, and from that stage, see this here, it's very important. February 2021 we're at 1.7. November 2021, which was the top, is 6.8. Can you imagine? We went from 1.7 to 6.8, and the Fed didn't even cut the rates. Like, Fed literally cut the rates here in March 2022 when they reached 8.5%. So my point of view is this: any kind of thing that makes the liquidity shrink is actually something that you need to pay attention. For example, as I said, top came here, but the signs of inflation were much earlier. Let's say they started in February. If you give the market 5 to 6 months time, you can understand that where we were entering in risky territory back then. Why? Because we saw the inflation going like crazy. We went from 1.4 to 1.7. Okay, that's good. It's not that quick, right? Then from 1.7 to 2.6, then from 2.6 to 4.2, so quick, which was ridiculous, right? So that showed kind of a thing that Fed will have to enter the game, and they did it. They were late, like they always are, but they did it. In March 2022, they actually hiked the rates, and then later on they started basically stopping QE and starting QT. But you have to understand something. You have to act always early. Like, as I've always said, markets are a forward-looking vehicle. They don't act based on the news. Like, if you acted based on Fed cutting rates in March 2020, literally the top was 2021, and a lot of people here at this time in March 2022, look, Bitcoin was back then, it wasn't that down, but it was 30%, but some else had 60%, 50%. So when people understood that we are in bear market and the liquidity is going down, they already had to just hodl, because they lost the majority of what they made. So they just held and ride everything for the next cycle. So what you have to pay attention is that inflation is a very key metric, because when inflation goes up, Fed will enter the game and hike the rates. Hiking the rates is something that it not incentivize borrowing more into the economy. It shrinks liquidity. And then what they can do, like a double effect, if the interest rate doesn't work, they actually stop the QE if they're running, and they start quantitative tightening. So they let their bonds roll over. And that's what happened after March. They rise in rates in March, then we saw the inflation coming down, then it spiked back up in June. Then what they did is this kind of started QT at this kind of stage. So my point of view is like this: inflation so far since Trump came in the administration, since January, is so far doing amazing. We are at 3.1, and today we are at 2.7, which is low, because I remember when tariffs started, every financial advisor, everyone on social media, 90% of people said tariffs are inflationary. Shows they're not, because if they were, the inflation would be higher than this, would be something like 5-6%, but it's not. It's currently in a really good place. Now you might see it here spiking a little bit. It doesn't matter, I would say, because it's something that it can be also like here. It spiked also up in June 2020, but it doesn't mean that you should sell here. So for example, I'll tell you this: if inflation somewhere next year spikes for 3, 4, 5 months, I would say at least 3-4 months in a row, and it goes something like this, like for example from March it went 2.6, 4.2, 5. If it goes something like this, which is so quick, I would say you have to be cautious. I'm not saying top will be here because it ran after this, it ran for a few more months, but I'm saying that the top shouldn't be far, because you need to understand that the more inflation goes up, the more Fed will look to hike the rates and to increase the rates and to probably start QT. So if somewhere next year inflation goes up by 3-4 months in a row, and it's big, it's not like 0.1 or 0.2, which is something like this. I don't think this is significant. I think this is significant. That's what makes Fed enter the game. So unless we don't see that, I don't think the top will be here, because I think it's like this. Like if we already went from 15k to 123 with QT, with high interest rates, imagine what can happen in an environment when interest rates come down and probably QT stops and maybe some QE comes, or stealth QE, we know that it's already happening. So this is a very important thing that you need to pay attention. The second thing is actually crazy euphoria and 90% of people not agreeing with the top. Something that many people don't understand is that they think the top will come when people expect it. It literally never happens. Like 70% of people that I talk at this kind of stage right now in crypto say the top should be Q4 2025. So basically this year. I'll tell you something from my experience and what I learned by calling the top. Because a lot of people online talk about things that they have never done, or they just learned it. I've done it. It's much different when you experience. No matter how much you learn it, it's different when you experience and when you do stuff. So I don't tell this to brag. I tell this to learn to listen to someone that has done things and not just talks about it. So when I call the top somewhere at this kind of stage at 58k, I remember everyone at this stage didn't agree with the top. Like I got some comments that I got on my Instagram, and all I got was hate. Like people were telling me, you don't know what you're talking about, are you dumb, how you can sell? Like 90% of people that I told that top should be at this kind of stage, they didn't agree with me. That told me, you're dumb, you're gonna miss life-changing opportunities. And somehow you start to also doubt yourself, because you need to understand that when you see those kinds of green candles and you come here and tell people this is a top, you kind of destroy their perception to them, because there are people that have joined also and bought this candle. For example, there are people that literally bought this candle. Imagine the hype that people had. Everyone said 60k, yeah, 100% we're gonna go to 100k, and those people that bought at 60 waited for 100, and all those people that are told that yeah, we can probably get out, were people that probably bought here, and they couldn't afford to actually miss the 100k. So my point of view is something like this. You can never predict the top when 70% of people agree with it. Like literally right now, I see 70% of people that are talking saying Q4 2025. And I'll tell you something. When I called the top here, and I showed people the importance of the 4-year cycle, how important that is, 70% of people literally paid no attention to the 4-year cycle. They didn't even knew what it is. But right now everyone is talking about the 4-year cycle because it has been working for actually 3 cycles, and people got more educated and they had to learn the 4-year cycle in the hard way because they lost all the money in the bear market, right? But honestly, again, it's too early to speak because we are just in the first week of August. I can't say the 4-year cycle will break 100%. I'll need to have more data. But honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if this cycle becomes more focused on liquidity, on stable coins, effect on the government and the monetary policy. So we break the 4-year cycle, because back then we were focused on the halving and the supply shock of BTC, but today it doesn't matter because you got institutions buying 10x more than what Bitcoin is created every single day. You got institutions buying 22x more than Ethereum is being created a day. So this kind of supply shock is pointless because they got the money and they're gonna buy more. So my point of view is like this. I wouldn't be surprised if this time we see the 4-year cycle breaking due to the reason that I told you, and everyone probably sells too early. Imagine it's like selling in November 2020. Imagine selling kind of here. Like you're gonna miss so much opportunities. Again, I want to clarify, I can't know what will happen 100% because I need more data to see how things will go till the end of the year, but this is definitely something you need to pay attention. I like to have always contrarian views. Like the reason why I've been successful and I called the top and so many things in crypto is because I have always seen things with an eye of skepticism and trying to go against the crowd. Like, if literally 90% of people don't agree with you, that's good, and that means that you're doing something that is right. And you need to understand also the crazy euphoria, because this is something that we haven't experienced yet. Like, people are calling bear market starting next year, but literally you got today no one making any money. Like, literally so far in crypto, it's been only Bitcoin, Solana, Injective, a few AI coins, Caspa, and literally there are 10 coins in total, and memes for sure. So the 80% of people haven't made any money. The bull run never comes when the top of the bull run never comes when people haven't made any money. The bull run ends when everyone is so euphoric. Here, people are buying $400K, $1 million, $2 million JPEGs, monkey pictures. Can you imagine that? This is the things that you have to be careful. This is what I tell you, that euphoria is something that you need to pay attention. Because I remember when I told people to sell here, 90% didn't agree, and sometimes I even doubted myself because I was right. But you guys don't understand how hard it is to go in the opposite direction when 99% of people don't agree with you. Like, literally at this time I thought, what if Bitcoin goes to 100K? What if I just sell too early and I miss another 10x, 20x on alts? Like, these are questions that I had in my head, and these are questions that I'm sure that you'll have in your head. You might be selling, let's say Bitcoin can go like this, touch 150 end of year, it'll be like, this is a top. It crashed down back to not 70 because it's like crazy, but to 100. Everyone said this is like this here, that we're gonna go down, and then it shoots another 200. So you have to understand that the market will always surprise you, especially in the bull run. And from my own experience, I've seen that everything in the bull run goes above your expectation, and everything in the bear market goes lower than you kind of expect. So I can't think the bull run is going to end when no one has made any money, when 70% of people agree with it. So if you want to actually understand when the top is going to be, pay attention when there's crazy euphoria, when people call dumb you for considering selling, they make fun of you, and 90% of people not agree with it. The third most important thing is having like crazy events. So this is something that you have to really pay attention, because how stupid the market gets, how degenerate people get, can actually show you a lot where the market is headed. Like, for example, what we have seen last cycle. Last cycle, we saw people doing crazy stuff by buying $300, $1 million on monkey JPEG. They try to justify and they'll tell you that, look, this is utility, it's a flex, it's going to be used for this and that. 90% of NFTs are down today. I'm not saying they can't go up, but the thing is that NFTs, 90% of them were just trash. They were just some random pictures hired from people, hired some designers on Fiverr, and they sold for ridiculous numbers of money. Can you imagine? People spend $1 million on some monkey JPEGs. That was kind of a move that it showed that the market is going to weaken from now and so on, because people have made so much money that they spend on bullshit stuff. Like, the degeneracy in the market can teach you a lot. So the thing is like this: all people in crypto, the problem with those crazy top signals that I have here, crazy events, is that the biggest mistake that people make is they think like the same top signals that you had last cycle, you're gonna have it today. So for example, if last cycle people did crazy things with NFTs, they'd be like, yeah, this time we saw with memes, and yeah, we're gonna go down because it's the top. No, this cycle we will see even more crazy things that your imagination can't comprehend. For example, if you told people in 2017 that people in 2021 would spend $1 million on some monkey picture, they would laugh at you. They could never predict it, right? If you told, listen to me carefully, if you told people in 2021, me, that I was here, that literally at this kind of stage, in this 2025 bull run, people would lock themselves in a cage and bark like a dog for their meme coin to go up on pump fun, I would never predicted. Like, literally in this bull run, we saw people locking themselves in the cage and barking like dogs so their meme coins go up. This is one thing that I remember. They've done crazy things, like literally stupid stuff, just for their meme coins to pump. So meme coins became launchable with just one click, and everyone got hyped out about it. So no one would predict this, honestly. Even in 2021, no one would predict this. I'm not saying this is a top. This might be a local top signal, because even here we have so many local top signals with meme coins, with some of the yield farming protocols that offer some crazy APYs. But my point of view is that when people do those degen stuff, you have to be really careful, and you have always to adapt your mindset, because what it was top signal last time, it's not going to be the same. It's 10x more. This is what people don't get. People be like, yeah, memes are crazy, it's going to peak. No, memes were crazy even last cycle too. You'll see even more crazier things with, like, for example, Pump Fun. Something people probably never predicted. Lil Pump tattoo Solana in his forehead. I know it's funny, and you might be like, yeah, but what does it matter? It matters because it was literally the top for Solana back then. Like, this is kind of the degeneracy that I talk about, because it shows how people are euphoric about something, and it teaches you a lot about the sentiment. Crazy moves like Pump Fun or more actually got also something like this. So far, we haven't seen so many celebrities or people launching stuff in crypto. You remember what happened? Actually in. I remember with the ICOs, IDOs launchpad in 2021. It was crazy. You got all the celebrities, all the rappers launching their own coins. Like, it was really crazy. So far we haven't seen any big major influencers or rappers jumping. Like, we have seen, but I'll say 30%. Compared to how many people we got today in crypto is nothing. So things like, I don't know, 80% of rappers or celebrities joining, launching a meme, launching a coin, or doing something about crypto is something that, yeah, you need to pay attention. Another crazy event that probably you could have never predicted. Like, could you predict in 2021 that the president of US would choose to launch a meme coin on Solana? Like, literally no one could predict this stuff. No one could predict. Even if you told me here, I would never predict it. So my point of view is that what was a top signal last time, it's not going to be this time. So learn how to train your mindset that what was a top signal last time will be 10x, 20x, much more. So this is why people that were from the last bull run, that suffer from PTSD from the losses, gonna sell too early, because they'd be like, yeah, this meme pumped, I'm gonna sell because last time when we saw this crazy thing, it was a top. Yeah, you're gonna sell and you sold here, and then you miss the rally, because you have to train your mindset that the craziness will continue to go more up, the degeneracy will continue to increase. Also, something that is very important that you need to pay attention, it might look like fun, but honestly is sometimes one of the best indicators. Friends that never been in crypto, or family or persons that you know messaging you. Like, this is something that you need to pay attention, because I got all the friends that has nothing to do with crypto. They literally didn't believe it. Actually called me in December. Like, literally they called me here. They wanted to invest. So try to actually take action and control the information in terms of when they call you or when they ask you. Keep track what is the date, and trust me, I would say 7 out of 10 it will work out that is very likely to be the top. So I'm sure a lot of people have a group of people on their contacts that they have nothing to do in crypto, but they just message once they see craziness in the market. This is something that shows euphoria. This is something that even the people that never believe on it wants to join, because they can't afford to lose, because all their circle is making money. They can't stay in that circle and say, I haven't done anything in crypto. Another thing is, for example, when you go out, you will hear 70% of conversations about crypto. I remember last bull run, or when things are near the peak, you go out, you go to a lounge, you go to a restaurant, you go for a coffee, for something. If you hear people around talking about crypto 70% of the time, that's something that you need to be aware. If you hear people messaging you all the time, that's something that you need to pay attention. I'm talking for people that you know very well that they hated it and they've never been at it. So pay a close attention, because it might look like something that it doesn't matter, or it's not like some fundamentals or some charts, but trust me, those are things that really matter if you control and take the data. So just keep the data. put something into the chart when your friend called it, and you'll come back later and understand how important that is. And yeah, keep that in mind, because it can help you a lot. Literally, I got all the friends that has nothing to do with crypto calling me always at the top. Always. No one called me here, no one called me here, no one called me here, no one called me here. Everyone wants here, the top, all the time. This is the last thing, but I think it's very important, because it's basically what's gonna happen with those Bitcoin Treasury companies. So these are top 100 public Bitcoin Treasury companies that they have added Bitcoin on their balance sheet. And here, like Bitcoin is the index for crypto, you know that MicroStrategy is the index for them, because they started this game, right? So one very important metric that you need to pay attention is the NAV. This is the net asset value. And why this is so important? Because it shows you what is the net asset value and what are investors willing to purchase for their Bitcoin. For example, this is 1.4x. It means that people are buying Bitcoin, which is 1.4x higher. A few months ago, this was 3x. Why I tell you this? Because we had this kind of similar structure, which is not exactly the same, but we had a similar structure last cycle with GBTC. It was Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, because back then we didn't have like proper ETFs from BlackRock. We had like a trust which was Grayscale. And Grayscale, here's the chart, it traded most of the time 20, 15, 25% premium. What does that mean? If it's premium, it means people are overpaying for Bitcoin. If let's say Bitcoin is 100K, people were paying 125K. You might ask why they're doing. It's because of FOMO, and it's because back then regulations for crypto were so bad. Like if you were an accredited investor and you wanted to buy Bitcoin, and if you made money, banks wouldn't accept it. So by buying those actually kind of GBTC that was like a fund, you could easily declare the money into the bank, but the issue was that you could have bought higher, right? But if you were an accredited investor, you couldn't invest in crypto. So this was the best strategy. And guess what happened? January, it was something that till January 21, we saw the premium, right? Then I think in February, because I can't find the correct chart, I think by February 2021, the NAV went to zero. And then it went to negative. Why I show you this? Because if we see something similar to MicroStrategy occurring, I would say that it's something that you need to pay attention. Now, listen to me carefully. Just because this went negative here, it doesn't mean that we peaked in March 2022. This is something that I would say you need to pay attention, because the top probably, in my own opinion, is not going to be that far. But I think when this comes, a lot of money will rotate to ETH and altcoins, a lot. Because from February 2021, if you check the actually Bitcoin dominance and what altcoins did, they did like crazy number. Like February 2021, look what the collapse were. So January, we saw the starting of decline, and look, it went down like crazy till May 2021. So all this collapse came. So my point of view is that when we see the NAV getting at 1 and probably lower, it shows that institutions or people that are buying, the investing on the strategy, MicroStrategy, they're not showing much interest. And that is something that you need to pay attention. Now, you have to be careful, because if it goes to 1, it doesn't mean that the top will be here. It means that money can actually rotate to altcoins too. But my point of view is that if they don't believe much on Bitcoin, the top is not going to be far. For example, the top last time once GBTC went to zero was a few months later. So February 2021 was when GBTC went to zero. And then the top was November 2021. So when this thing probably occurs somewhere near the future, is something that you need to pay attention. Again, listen to me carefully. I'm not saying the top is going to be there, but I think that the top is not going to be far. And we probably have a few months left for alts and ETH to perform. So this is something you should pay attention. I think the best would be for strategy, because this is the biggest and that's where most of the money flows. That's who holds the most of the Bitcoin. But definitely pay attention, because it's something that it shows what interest institutions have also and investors have also in MicroStrategy. So of course GBTC was kind of a different structure of the compared to MicroStrategy, but it can give you like an overview how things can go once the NAV trades at the same level or at a discount. So I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned from this. Don't forget to join my free Telegram. I'll leave the link below. I share daily voice notes, so things that I can't cover here, I'm all active on my free Telegram. Just join below. It's all free, and you can ask also any question.